Welcome to Whiskey Society. What's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for joining us. Episode 2. We started in episode 1 with bourbons, and now we're switching gears to Scotch. Specifically, a Scotch that I think is perfect for the new Scotch drinker, okay? If you're experienced Scotch before in the past and you thought it was too smoky, or if you thought it wasn't approachable enough, too complex, too expensive, whatever the situation may be, I think this bottle can help you maybe change your mind and gear you and steer you towards a different Scotch experience. This one is light, this one is approachable, this one is balanced, this one is not expensive, especially when you're talking to Speyside single malt. And I can't wait to dive into it and share it with you. We're talking Cardhu 12 single malt Scotch, episode 2, coming at you now.
Straight up neat over rocks, keep whiskey rare. Bottle to the shot glass, sip an angel share. Pull back the curtain to reveal something, make you stare. Once the whiskey hit your lips, you without a care. Single barrel bourbon got me feeling hypey. Here's the drinking and learning. Cheers, Whiskey Society.
This is a Diego company, same company that owns Johnny Walker. And based off of my research on this bottle, this is one of their main malts that they use for blending. And that makes sense because once you taste it, it's very balanced, nice and bright, has some very easy to detect flavors that are very approachable, very likable. And so I'm not surprised that they're using it in their blends. I'm also a fan of a lot of the Johnny Walker blends, so it makes sense if this is one of their main malts that they're using, because I like both of them. This is, in terms of pricing and availability, available nationwide, right on the shelf here in my home state of Oregon. What I paid here, high 40s, I think it was 48, 49. Now that's, in my opinion, pretty reasonable for a Speyside single malt. Certainly more expensive than our, approachable beginner level blended scotches, which makes sense, right? Single malt's just going to be a little bit more expensive. But compared to a Glenfiddich single malt, Glenlivet, Aberlour, very similar price ranges. The flavor profile here, I think, is going to be much more similar to a Glenfiddich or Glenlivet. The Aberlour has, pretty heavy sherry influence. Less expensive than your, entry-level 12-year double wood Balvenie, and less expensive than I would say most of the Macallans. Obviously, Macallan gets pretty crazy. We all now. Let's give it a quick nose. We'll give it a taste, and we'll move on. Okay. Not overpowering, pretty balanced, pretty honeyed. There's the nose isn't, explosive, bold, but you got some nice honey. Like I said, there's some really nice, sort of little pepper, little wood pepper there. There's an enjoyable honeydew smell here, melon smell. And floral notes, a little bit of bitter, lemon, little citrus. It's nice, very approachable. The smell is certainly not going to scare you off. Let's get our first taste here. See, it's really nice. It's really approachable, very balanced, sweet, little pepper on the back. The finish isn't extremely long, I'll be honest with you, right? It's pretty shallow, but you're gonna get that with, sort of our beginner whiskeys here, right? That's part of the price point that we're seeing here, and it's also 12 years, and in reality isn't a huge aging for our scotches, okay? They start to present more of a longer finish, more smooth, rounded mouthfeel at those later years. It takes longer to age whiskeys in Scotland because of the environment. Honey's there, the pepper's there, the lemon citrus is there, a little bit of apple, not brand new, crisp, bright apple, but more of, little bit past its prime, apple, floral, a little bit of cashew here as I'm continuing to chew on it. Really nice, like I said, great entry-level Speyside Scotch. If you're able to find it at your local whiskey bar, in that $8, $10, $12 range, certainly worth it, worth the try. See if your palate matches the flavor profiling, and just a great Scotch to try to get into Scotch, right? Get into the more honeyed, more balanced, lighter version of Scotch compared to our Lafroigs, Ardbegs, Lagavulins, etc. If I wish it was a little bit cheaper. If it was a little bit cheaper, I would say absolutely buy it, 100%. But there's other options available here, and that's why I might suggest going to the bar, trying it against Glenfiddich, trying it against Glenlivet, Abelard, etc. See where your preferences lie, and then have that be your gateway Scotch to be a mainstay at the home bar and to offer friends and family when they're curious. And then you can take that knowledge and expand from there and start to look at more maybe complex Speyside single malts, then start going into the Highlands, start going into the Lowlands, and then only after that, when you've started to enjoy those, start with maybe like a Bruichladdich for an Islay Scotch. Now the Bruichladdich definitely has some peated ones. They have Octomore, which is one of the most peated Scotches available on the market, but they also do some nice mixtures of a little bit of peat into their Scotches. They have very similar, some of their flavor profiling is very similar to Speysides. And then start to go into the more traditional Islas, like I said, Lafroig, Lagavulin, Ardbeg, and see if your palate has developed at that point to see if you like those heavier peated Scotches. Cardhu 12 single malt Scotch, great whiskey. Try it against other competing brands to find your go-to, and enjoy the process, enjoy the moment. Work hard, whisk easy. Cheers.